Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Jadu Academy. Today, we're standing on the edge of something extraordinary, generative AI. This technology has the power to reshape everything we know about delivering public services and supporting customers. But there's a catch. AI is expensive to get wrong, and the key to getting it right, that comes down to one thing, culture. Culture is where everything starts. It's the foundation for how we think, how we work, and how we experiment. Because as you know, experimentation is the bedrock of every revolution. And today, we are at the beginning of a revolution in AI. Throughout the day, you'll hear sessions focused on early experiments with generative AI. But Jadu, we're not just experimenting. We've launched Jadu Labs, a browser extension that leverages AI to boost productivity. And this is just the start. At Jadu, we're committed 100% to integrating AI across all our products. Why? To help customers leverage the current AI wave and deliver better outcomes. So how do we get AI ready? It starts with something we call the digital layer. Imagine 3 layers working together. First, the backend layer, your systems of record, your automations, the foundation. Next, the customer layer, CRMs, websites, portals, the systems of engagement. And finally, the product layer, the apps you build for fast, high-quality, accessible self-service. These layers working together create something powerful, a truly digital organization. One that's AI-ready, one that's accessible. Because here's the key. If your systems are accessible for humans, they're accessible for machines. AI can work with data that's inclusive. Machines can process it, understand it, and act. And today, I'm proud to announce that we're going a step further with Jadu's digital consulting services. We're here to guide you on your AI journey, to help you make the most of the digital layer, and to make sure you don't just surf the AI wave, you lead it. Thank you. End.
So what if I was to tell you that in a year's time that you'll all be looking for work? I've already been made redundant, by the way. So.
I see what you're doing. A little bit of mystery. It sounds like you're setting me up for something intriguing.
I really am.
What's the ESR code you're referring to? Or are we diving into a riddle here?
We really are. Okay, thank you. So, I mean, we're at the, I suppose, the tipping point of a real revolution, and we want to really get into sort of how that's meaningful for you as the Jadu community. So as well as welcoming all of you, I would like to also tell you about some of the new customers who've joined the Jadu community over the past year. And whilst I won't go into detail to all of these, together we've worked over the past few months with many of these organisations to really innovate and deliver some properly decent public services. I'd like to high-five Liverpool City Council. Are you in the room today? Hello, and welcome to Jadu. We've just, I think the ink is just about drying on our contract with Liverpool. We really hope that Liverpool will become one of the rubies in the Jadu crown. The one thing that was interesting about Liverpool's RFP, and guys, I hope you don't mind me calling you out like this, I don't mean to embarrass you, but it was one of the most progressive RFPs we've responded to. Almost enjoyed writing the response to Liverpool and the requirement there. I've never seen integration and automation so deeply embedded into the need, so clearly enlightened, but I've also, for the first time, seen artificial intelligence as not just as an ambition, but as a goal during the course of the journey. So I think that's tremendous, and I'd just like to applaud you for a fantastic and a really enjoyable RFP process. Not all of them are like that, unfortunately. I'd also like to welcome the state of Minnesota. Now, Minnesota are one of the most progressive states in America with accessibility. We're starting our journey with them, working with MDHR, the Minnesota Department for Human Rights. They defend accessibility cases for the state. And so for them to be accessible was an absolute critical need. It was the highest priority. And interestingly, the state of Minnesota, no technology gets purchased without an accessibility review from their fairly small but very talented accessibility team. So they're really progressive, breaking ground. And of course, now in the US, it's been the law in the UK for a long time, but in the US, it's only just been written into law, and there is a deadline approaching. So Jadu at the moment is growing crazy fast in North America. And the impact of that you will see in the technology that you log into every day, because we'll be moving faster. I'd also like to welcome some new partners to Jadu. These are primarily North America, although Impute is in Ireland. Really, again, enlightened on as to sort of the accessibility journey that everyone is going on at the moment, but also really understand the value of implementing a digital layer for their customers. So we're really looking forward to getting into it and providing value for their customers and the communities they serve as well. So 2 years ago, we set our mission to become the world's most accessible digital platform. And in fact, it was at Academy last year that we actually formally launched that mission. And I just want to give you some quick updates as to sort of what we've been up to and what we've been doing. The first thing we've done is we've been supporting customers in the journey to understanding the change between WCAG 2.1 and 2.2. So not only have we had to learn, obviously, that change, we've been waiting for it to actually happen for a long time, and it was delayed and delayed, but it's finally here now. And whilst it's already law in the UK, it's about to get written into law in the US as well. So we're really proud to be able to support you in your knowledge and learning curve in making sure that you can deliver the most accessible experiences for your communities as well. And it is now become the defining unique selling point of the Jadu platform as well. As I mentioned, it is fueling our growth in North America, which is sort of dovetailing nicely into fueling our growth over here as well and across the world. We've expanded our accessibility team driven by demand. That accessibility team will get bigger, and you will hear from our head of accessibility, James, later on this afternoon. We've made a whole bunch of core platform changes. Now, we're never going to stop making accessibility changes and prioritizing accessibility, but through continuous release and continuous iteration, we will be improving the product more and more and more using latest standards and technology to make sure that we hit that mission to become the world's most accessible digital platform. We're deadly serious about it as well, and we're making a commitment to that. And then finally, we've started the process, or we're in the process of doing full, complete audits of the Jadu software itself. So we're as accessible on the back end as we are on the front end. And again, it's a defining difference of the Jadu platform is that we genuinely care. And what we want to do is tell you a little bit about actually some of the huge business benefits and strategic technology gains you get from that work on accessibility. So I guess we're here to talk about artificial intelligence, and just a couple of show of hands, really. The first question I have for you is, how many people have been to an AI conference? Quick show of hands. A few people, not many. This is not an AI conference, but obviously today it's one of the primary themes of what we're talking about. How can you not talk about artificial intelligence? It's changing everything. But this isn't the first time this has happened, and AI is not a new technology. It's just the first time it's gained consumer adoption. And that is the game changer, because now the devices that you have in your pockets are AI enabled, and you'll be using those devices more and more, relying on them more and more to help you get stuff done. And if you're physically disabled in any way, or you have a cognitive disability, then that assistive technology is absolutely crucial to living modern life. The change in artificial intelligence, it's not technological. That just happens. It's Moore's law, with every increment, it gets 10 times more powerful, 100 times more powerful. And so that's a machine that we don't have any influence in stopping, and fear absolutely will not stop that machine rolling forward. The biggest change is cultural. And that starts with all of you, the people who influence your organizations, the people who shape strategy, who write these technologies into requirements and make sound technology choices on behalf of your organizations, and of course the communities who you do it for. And those are the most important people, right? That's why we're here. That's why we do everything that we do. And so this concept of experimentation is really key, because nothing new can be used or leveraged without experimentation. In fact, experimentation is the foundation of revolution, right? It's the most valid research method in science and in technology. And everything starts with experimentation. And therefore, we should not be afraid of it. You can even build a business case to do it. And now is the time to actually do that. You can partner with the people you trust, and you can deliver great work that makes a huge dent in the universe. There's a second show of hands. Who uses a spreadsheet in your everyday life? Who's used a spreadsheet before? I'm suspicious of anyone who doesn't have their hand up. Everyone uses spreadsheets, right? It's ubiquitous technology. But did you know that spreadsheets were born out of an experiment? There was two students, one at MIT and one at Harvard. One was a programmer, one was a business student. And they had this vision that they wanted to create a digital blackboard. That was what spreadsheets were designed to do. They built that on the Apple II. Has anyone heard of the Apple II? Predates the Macintosh, some real dinosaurs in the room joining me in a nostalgic trip down memory lane. VisiCalc, the spreadsheet software that they built, was commercialized. It was implemented on the Apple II, and it drove Apple's business forward. From the devices that are in your pocket right now, to the spaceships that go into space, everything started with experimentation on a digital blackboard. Spreadsheets became a thing. And you know what? When VisiCalc first launched, what the accountants all said in unison, they said it would cause mass unemployment. And of course, the opposite was true. It was a tipping point moment in technology that enabled productivity. And that's why it's now all our jobs to experiment with this new paradigm in computing. So the digital layer is Jadu's framework for connecting your customers with their data. It's a way of enabling not just self-service, but to really leverage artificial intelligence, you need to have a plan, a strategy. You need to understand, what you're experimenting with and where to do those experiments, how to demonstrate business value from the technologies that are available. And so the digital layer starts off with the foundation, which is the back end. And the back-end layer, we're all very familiar with legacy line of business applications, aren't we? If you're a council, it's like revenues and benefits, housing, waste management systems, all the systems of data that are kept in the back office in a local authority. If you're a university, then it's a student management system or any systems of data that help enable student success, or a finance system, for example. Those are all back office, back-end layer applications. And you can include in that things like RPA or orchestration tools, business process mapping tools, pretty much everything that drives the business in the back end, all the stuff that the customer really is not interested in. And all of that can be transformed with AI in different parts, right? From helping you diagnose problems before they happen, so predictive service, understanding huge amounts of data and processing that data in milliseconds, helping you decide on applications, right, as they come in through the front office, helping you prioritize those applications as they come in, complex services that you need to analyze and understand. The second layer is the customer layer. That's where Jadu lives. So, for example, systems of engagement that help you build websites, online forms, online payments, booking services, anything that you create in low-code tools that enable you to build stuff. And of course, what are you building? You're building products. And that's, sorry, my clicker's not working. And that's where artificial intelligence also plays a role, right? You're building stuff, you're creating AI chatbots, which are far more powerful than the previous generation of dumb chatbots, which would really just read off scripts and then do a handover. Now you can actually talk to a cognitive service and get a common sense answer. So real opportunities for transformation across that customer layer. And then, of course, you've got the product layer, the stuff that you build, the people in this room who build forms and digital services to enhance the user journey. You build websites and portal experiences, personalized experiences, My Account technology. These are all the apps that you put in front of the customer. And that's what we call the product layer. And so together, this is the digital layer. And it's a framework for you to use to easily help not just manage upwards with building business cases, but also to really understand where the business value can be unlocked inside your organization from things like artificial intelligence, because it does touch every single layer of the technology stack. Okay, I'm giving up on my clicker now, I'm afraid. So I think that foundation principle that ChatGPT talked about earlier, if you make things accessible for humans, you make them accessible for machines as well. And that's not just the ability for ChatGPT to come and read your website and give you a common sense answer. I uploaded these slides this morning to ChatGPT and said, deliver the keynote for me. I gave it 2 test runs and then did it live the 3rd time around. And it did a pretty good job. It did a better job than I'm doing right now, because it did that in 2 minutes and I'm taking 25. But it's not just the ability to read a page and read it back to you. It's the ability to take action. And that's why it's so important that your system of engagement is accessible, because if a human being can do it, then a cognitive service can do it as well. So imagine that you are partially sighted or you are blind and you want to book a flight. I can guarantee you that it's near impossible for you to do today. There are very few apps right now that are accessible enough for a blind person to actually be able to sensibly book a flight. And you'll hear later from Robin Christopherson, the head of accessibility at AbilityNet, just about the barriers that are put in place and the opportunities that AI has now for action, for cognitive services to perform action, which obviously then leads to speech. The fastest way to input and to communicate is speech. And that's where computing is going. So just finally, just some really great things for you to do and to look at. Later on, you'll see a demo of this. Jadu Labs, it's available now. You can download it. Just type in Jadu Labs into Google and you'll find it. It's a Chrome and Microsoft Edge extension, like a browser plugin. And a lot of Jadu's experiments with artificial intelligence are there. So for example, if you wanted to visualize a workflow in Jadu Connect, or if you wanted to roll it out to your customer services team, and you know the responses they write in the timeline on each case, maybe they want to AI enable those responses so you can come up with more sensible language, perhaps more passive language if the customer is, angry at the time. Really useful tools. And then a really exciting new platform delivery, Jadu Central 3X, should be available towards the end of this year. And traditionally, building something, a portal, experience, or a website in Jadu has taken time, right? If you're really enlightened, you'll probably choose one of the 3 amazing bulletproof themes that our creative team has built. Most of you in this room probably use one of those themes. If you've got the budget and the time, you'll do an entire custom design. But so far, those have been the only two options. Well, now, today, from the day you install the software, you will be able to launch the next day with an out-of-the-box, bulletproof, accessible template scheme that solves most of the basic business need. It's not cookie cutter. There are settings that you can put in that make it look as beautiful as you want, but it's a framework for you to get to value day one. And that's so you can focus on the more important task now of transformation, about embedding these new technologies. And I'm really excited to tell you about our new consulting service, Jadu Consulting. You'll see the team in the room today, Rian, Steve, and Mike. The seed of this new consulting team, actually been at Jadu about 6 months. So not new for us anymore, but new for all of you. And that's launching today as well. And we've already been working with customers on experimentation. You'll hear more about that today as well, but also on actual delivery where we're providing burst capacity for transformation, prioritization services, sort of agile planning, but also consulting on business strategy as well. Really driving fundamental business change. That's the T-shirt we wear in consulting at Jadu now. So we're changing things up a little bit. We've got a thought leadership panel or fireside chat that we're going to do next. That's going to be facilitated by Paul Greenhead. Paul is our new Chief Operating Officer. Paul, would you like to come up and say?